There's a ferry coming in. So in the 1850s, there was a really bad storm here, and it disconnected those islands from the peninsula. So now they're islands, but they weren't always islands, which is fascinating. It's a really cool fact. You can see that's what the old picture would have looked like. There's the edge. Some big rock here. Water taxis coming and going. You can see, right? Red buoy, green buoy. Marks the channel too, right? It tells you the channel traffic and where your channel is. Lots of boats though. They got new boats, old boats, medium boats, big boats, small boats. You get the bull rail too. That's a bull rail, fenders, bollards, or cleats, depending on the shape. Those are cleats, those are bollards, right? That's a cleat, that's a bollard, that's a bull rail. Those are the fenders. And those timbers going horizontally, that's called a fender wall. And then you got bull rails, and they hang the fenders from the bull rail. Queens Quay is the street we're walking parallel with. That's Toronto's most well-known building. At one point, the tallest building in Canada. I don't know if it is now, but at one point it was. You can see the lights up there, right? All across. They got the center ones in the back, right? The white. You got the pontoon floats. Fenders on the side, right? So you got a bow line and spring lines and then a stern line, right? That's how it works on a ship. Bow line, spring lines. And they don't have to worry about tides here, but sometimes you want to worry about tides. So when you tie your ropes, you got to tie your ropes with put your ropes with a little bit of slack in them. Otherwise your boat's going to be hanging in midair when the tide drops. Right, and this is the stern line I was talking about, or stern lines, right? Look at the lines on that boat, it's amazing. Nice little boat. People getting ready for a cruise. Look at all the old rigging, man. It's a really cool boat. It's this is basically exactly like they would have had in the old. You can see the block and tackles, right, for raising the sails. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all kinds, right? All the rigging and the ropes to climb the climb up there. You see all the shackles. Like, this is a real sailing ship. Oh, ferry's taking off. It's metal too, I love it. Rivets, metal rivets. Yeah, you can see, right? They got turnbuckles, shackles. See those blocks? Those wooden blocks? That's a block and tackle. They got everything, man. This is a legit sailing ship. Cables, all the eyes are thimbled, and they've got the end connection. The end connection's done as well. Splice connection. That's incredible. And you can see them, right? That's what these guys are doing is what the old sailors would have had to do back in the day, right? On a ship. And the prop, right? This is the propulsion. This is the screw. So we're talking about stern wheelers. You got stern wheelers, which is like that stern wheel. That's basically just a paddle or a paddle wheeler. That's one method of propulsion. And then you've got a screw or a prop, right? That's what the propeller looks like, but just bigger. And then you've got the rudder. So on an outboard motor, you're steering the propeller, like to get like it works as one assembly. On a boat of this size, you have a propeller and then you have a rudder right here, right? And that'll he turns the rudder and it directs the flow of water in the direction you want to go, right? The propeller's flow of water. It's the same concept, but there is a difference, right? That you move that propeller and the water flow direction changes. This, you move the rudder and the water flow changes. And you can see the old rivets and everything. That's all just old rigging. All that is using old rigging and doing old rigging, right? Same with that one there, right? There's another sailing ship. They're getting the sailboats ready too, right? All the rigging. Oh, he's raising one of the sails. It's all just ropes. Ropes, block, tackles, and turnbuckles. Turnbuckles are really handy because you can adjust the length of a cable or rope within centimeters, right? They have 2 screws on either end. You thread it in or out as much as you want, and then lock it in place with 2 nuts. And just helps you adjust the length of your rigging, right? But with precision. So that's why they have turnbuckles. But all the stuff we use nowadays, guys, on cranes, like if you're anybody who's a rigger who works with cranes or anything, or if you work on the water, it all used to be just old rigging, right? Old rigging from ships. Those were the forefathers of it, right? Piece of art. Oh yeah. Just bolted into the concrete. Right, so the sun comes in. Pretty self-explanatory. We got a pile with a concrete pile. We got a steel pile with a concrete fill. We got I-piles, the I-beam pile, right? Difference between an H-beam and an I-beam. H-beam is uniform on all 5 sides. The I-beam has the big web. So you've got the flanges, upper flange, lower flange, and web. That's a dolphin, right? So there's a cluster of piles together. Like in the old days, they used to have wooden dolphins, so it'd be a bunch of wooden piles pushed together and then lashed with cable, and they call those dolphins. You see those piles on either end going off on an angle? Those are batter piles. Batter is just something driven on an angle. So you've got batter piles and then your plumb pile, right? That's called a plumb pile. These are joined with bolts, steel plates and bolts, right? But if this was a wood pile dolphin, you'd have center piles, depending on the number who the engineer designs that. Then you'd have batter piles and it'd be lashed with cable, right? And then you put staples, you pound it in with a sledgehammer, and then those staples like basically help it secure, right? But you can see in that whaler goes down a couple levels, right? And that's a cutoff. When they cut off the top like that with the torch, it's called a pile cutoff. And so when I was talking about earlier with surveyors and how they survey, so to get this elevation, right, like for the piles, you get a surveyor. So the surveyor would come, he's set up, he get his benchmark right, do his back sight, set his sight of instrument, and then go forward to his foresight. And then he'd have a rod man, and they'll say like, we need to cut at this height, right? And then surveyor will, the guy will move it up and down on the pile, right? And then there'll be a guy with a marker, and he'll take the marker and mark the elevation, and then a guy comes and cuts it, and that's the end result, right? And then they use that to get same level all the way across. That's that boat that we saw down by the pirate ship there. We see the boat now coming back, right? That'll be it for now for Toronto. I'll probably get some of the crazy haywire traffic coming back, leaving, getting out of here, thank God. Back to the country. I was gonna make a joke about the Leafs. Yeah. For any of you like myself who are unfortunate enough to be Leafs fans, we're coming past the temple here. The Go Station and the Arena of Shame. 50 plus years.